Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Serene Wilkin, and today's Pilates base workout is all about the foot and the ankle with mobility and stability work. We'll be using the Allegro 2 from Balanced Body with the Jumpboard attachment. I'll also be introducing you to other tools that I use with clients to help them open up a lot of the muscles within the foot, the intrinsic foot muscles, and then also outside the foot and ankle, which is going to be above in the lower leg. Let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach these to our feet. Now remember, these are yoga toe gems, so I basically pull this end downward between my toes to separate. And once I've got them locked in, I do the other side. And all you're going to do once you have your yoga toe gems pulled down is just leave them there. So like I said, I wouldn't walk on them in the beginning because they are a lot for a lot of people. I like to just kind of sit, read a book, that kind of thing, let my feet passively stretch. That's kind of the intention of what we're all about here. But it does help with a lot of foot problems. So it's a good tool for, I think, everyone to own if it's comfortable for them. So I'm going to leave that there. And now we're going to explore working on the calf area with the orb ball to help the muscles that control the ankle and movements. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this guy right here. Now remember, I'm going on my calf, so I'm not going to go down the leg just yet. And I just want my leg to rest on it. That should be enough. Let's go through some dorsiflexion by lifting the toes like this, flexing the foot, and then plantar flexion, which is going to be pointing the foot like that. Now, when you have the orb ball on your calf muscle, you're going to be feeling that through the plantar flexion as I point my foot. And then flex. So just notice, like maybe there's a little bit of, tender area somewhere in the middle of the calf. It's fine. You don't have to push really hard. Just go real soft. And if you're real sensitive, you can throw a towel over the orb ball or even use a foam roller. It really just depends on your body. This is, again, just tools I use with clients that are fine with this, that can tolerate it. And it does help with a lot of the jump board work in Pilates. Okay, let's do one more. Flex and point. Okay, so now we're just going to relax the ankle. I'm going to go side to side across my calf very gently. Again, if it's too much, you can use a foam roller instead. No big deal. Okay, just a little bit here. And then back at your center. Make sure you're in a good spot. And now I'm going to go through some ankle circles. So what I want to do first is dorsiflex. Toe in, big toe in. Go down. Big circle around. Lift up. So notice I'm going through dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. I'm just going to go pointing my foot, flexing, lifting up, down, woo, 4, and 5. Let's go the other way. I go around for 5, and go slow with this for 4. We're waking up all those muscles that control the ankle for 3, 2, and finally 1. Good. So with that, let's go ahead and remove it on the left. Let's go to the right side. And I know this is kind of like a warm-up, you guys. Just stay with it. This is a great way for soft tissue work just to incorporate into your Pilates practice, okay? So here we are again. I'm on my right side. I'm finding that good spot in the middle of my calf. And here we go. We're going to be going into dorsiflexion and then plantar flexion. And you can kind of feel like when you're in the plantar flexion that you're gripping those yoga toes, like hugging them, which means you're activating your arch, which is a good thing. And up. It's a really nice way to stretch the foot. And last one. Good. And then from there, relax your ankle. Go ahead and come up with those toes, dorsiflexion, big toe in, and then go into those circles all the way around, flexing, and 2. It's nice to spend time on your feet. I think a lot of times people forget until they have a foot problem, until there's something that comes up or their ankle, they have a little strain going on, something that's uncomfortable. So it's quite nice to focus on this. Let's go the other way and around. And last 2. And last 1. Good. And you can go side to side across this guy if you'd like as well. All right, you guys. Good. So now we've Done a little bit of soft tissue work, a gentle stretch across the toes. The next part I'll be showing you is going to be using the yoga tune-up ball for the bottom of the foot. Okay, so looking at the yoga tune-up ball, I still have the yoga toes on, and I want to make sure that the surface of the ball is just behind the knuckles of my toes. So here's what I call the knuckles, right? It's just behind that area. And all I want to do from this position is allow my foot to, again, kind of not plantar flex completely, but just kind of round over the ball. So I'm letting my foot just kind of drape over while it's being stretched the yoga toes. And then what I'm going to do is lift up gently and do that again and lift up. So notice already the bottom of your foot is getting more kind of connection with proprioception, and you're also getting more blood flow, right? Just by doing a little bit of soft tissue work. It's quite nice for the feet, and you're stretching through the toes, which is great. So just about 5 is fine. And then from there, I'm going to go through the outer part from the pinky toe to the heel, from the big toe to the heel, and then across the toe box. So those are the 3 arches of our foot. So I'm going to go from pinky toe to the heel, so outer part. So notice, I know a lot of people are very tight right here, but how much pressure you put on the ball is up to you. You don't want to put a ton of pressure, guys. This is slowly adding circulation to that area, okay? And now I'm going to go from my big toe to my heel, and that's like the inner arch of my foot. Okay, and then I'm going to go across from my pinky toe to my big toe. And for this one, I like to bring my heel to the ground and just kind of like fan across. So I'm going like this, side to side like that, just across that arch. Okay, and now I go the other foot, again behind the knuckles of the foot while my foot's stretching. And all I'm going to do is just make sure that I'm kind of gently draping over and then lifting. And then draping over and lifting. So just getting more of that circulation. And last one. Good. And then from there, we're going to go from that pinky toe across the outer arch, gently. And then I've got my big toe, inner arch to the heel. Okay. Last part's going to be across, heel down. You're just across kind of the behind the knuckles of that end of your foot here. How we started, just from pinky toe to big toe, fanning it across. Okay? So that's one way to really use like a yoga tune-up ball to help you guys open up your foot with the yoga toes on before we get into our very fun Pilates strengthening work using the jump board. All right, so now that we have really worked on the foot and the ankle using those tools I showed you, what we want to do is set up our reformer. So let's go ahead and bring our straps to the side on the ground so they don't catch on anything as we're jumping. And then I'm going to take my headrest up so it gives me a little support. Spring tension today, we're going to start with a red spring. Why am I starting so light? We're going to go very, very tiny baby little bunny hop jumps to focus on rolling through the foot. And we're not going to get too heavy too quick. So let's go ahead and go over that first. 1 red spring. Okay, come on down to your jump board. And you can have a little bit of space between your body and the shoulder blocks is fine. Let's talk about the spine position and the ribs first. We're going to pull the ribs down. So as people jump, they tend to lift through the rib cage and arch quite a bit. So let's go ahead and pull that down. Stay anchored in your pelvis. Looking up at your toes, you want to start with a parallel stance. So we're not jumping just yet, but I want you to first just find those toes connected to the board, heels as low as you can make them. Okay? From this position, we slowly push the bed out. Very slow to start. Once we're here, we lift up through those heels to the toe box. And now we're just going to go ahead and roll through that foot. We gently bend the knees in. We're rolling through that foot as we come back. Heels connect to the board. Okay, so that's the goal. As we slowly roll, we push, we lift the ankles and gently back in. So just getting familiar with the texture of the board, feeling your feet now on a different surface, and just being aware of our new environment we'll be jumping in. Let's do one more. Okay, gently come back. Great. So from here, what we now want to do when we jump is not lower the legs down. We don't want them kind of hanging down. We want them slightly elevated. So it'll look like in the video, my legs come slightly up and they come back to the board, and that's okay. So here we go. Stay connected to your core. We're going to lift, bunny hop, roll through. So think of that light feather landing, light as a feather. See how my feet come up slightly? We're going to go for 10, just another 5. Soft. Keep your knees parallel. Remember that alignment, right? The same kind of footwork properties with alignment. Last 2 and last 1. Okay, take a pause right here. So that was good. So just kind of getting familiar with jumping, a little bit different technique. Now we can talk about changing our spring tension. So we are going to go with a red and a yellow. Remember, tighter spring, heavier spring brings us in faster. So it's not going to be as much time out behind us here in space. Let's lay down, find your parallel stance again. You can take a peek up here. Okay, so notice my toes are about a couple of inches from the top of the board. That's fine versus low. And here we go. Let's go ahead and do those little bunny hops. Land soft. Roll through that foot. So when you're jumping here, we are practicing that rolling quietly. 5, 6. Breathing, staying connected to the core. And come back in. So if you're someone that's really struggling with the ankle position and you're feeling like it's just not working for you, or you feel like you're kind of slamming your foot down your heel, we don't want to get in that pattern. So find the ball of your foot. Lift your heels at the beginning so that when you do jump, you can easily find the board with that same kind of toe box area versus kind of leading with that heel and pushing down into that surface, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's our parallel stance. Now we're going to go into a little turnout. So for some people, when they do any kind of frog stance, their knees kind of clock together like that. So you can go a little open is fine. For me, I'm going to go heels together. It's technically like my frog. And as I come out, again, a little lift in my feet. So you're really just rolling through now the outer part, feeling that connection. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So again, this is kind of just a warm-up, little intro into different ways we can use the articulation. Okay, so now we're going to go into a single leg version, which is going to be parallel again. Got my other leg here in tabletop. We're going to do 10 on each leg. Let's go from a parallel stance. Stack your knee over your hip area. Connect through your abs. And let's go. Lifting out. 2, 3. Connect your abdominals. Last 2 and 1. Good. So notice it becomes a little bit easier as you keep doing it. It's very, very soothing after a while. And here we go. Let's do the other side. Tabletop leg, stack it up, and it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Think of that alignment here. Knee and center toe. Last 1. Come on in. Okay, good. So now we can do some leg changes. So it's pretty much the same position, but now we're changing in the air. That gets tricky for a lot of people. They don't really understand how to reach for the board with the other leg or when to switch, and becomes a little bit confusing. So I like to first start people out here, and then I just bring it to the board and I come here. I push out, I bring it to the board, and I come here. Now as I keep going, I can add this little bunny hop, and I can start to slowly feel that rhythm in the body. It feels a little more natural. And then your jumps get a little bit bigger and you get more comfortable with that. So we go out, and you're rolling through the ankle, your parallel stance. Keep breathing, keep that core connection. For 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and 1. Good job. Come all the way in. Excellent. So let's take a little breather from the jumping. We're going to come up to the side here and really wake up the bottom of the foot on a flat surface from a standing position. So now that we've done some of the jumping, our feet are awake. We feel all that circulation through the bottom part of our leg. Let's come into a lunge position. We're going to be lengthening that back leg so that I'm right here. I'm pushing on the outer part of my pinky toe all the way up and across my toe box. So staying alive with that effort downward into the ground. I'm just going to hold a lunge. I know it's not very fancy, but I'm just trying to really hold that foot connection and spread the toes apart. So it helps with balance, you guys. It helps with really just feeling like effort we're using within those intrinsic foot muscles to push gently in towards the ground. Good. Come back and come in. Let's do the other side. Same thing. Just a little brief stretch before we continue. Here we go. We're holding here. Again, outside the foot is pressing into the ground, and I'm feeling this deeper connection through that part of my foot as well. And slowly come in. Okay, so we have some choices. If you want to stay with the same spring tension, go for it. If you would like more resistance, it does become more effort, obviously, on the articulation because it brings you in a lot quicker. So it's up to you. We could do a red and a blue. So I'm going to do that. We'll take off the yellow. So in other words, I have 1.5 springs versus 1.25. And now I'm going to come down and continue with my jump board work. Okay, center your body, anchor your pelvis. Now we did some of the switching the last time we were laying down. We're going to come out and in. So this one's a little bit different. It's more inner thigh driven. There's a slight turnout. But what I'll show you first is basically the outer position is at the corner. The inner position is right here. So one jump will be out, one jump will be in, and we'll go alternating back and forth. Okay, so let's start out. We're going to feel that first. Land in, land out. Land in, land out. And in, and out. So it's like your foot makes a tiny little arc. It lifts up like a little mini rainbow. You can think of that shape. So you maintain that. For 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and pause. Bring it all the way in right here. Nice work, you guys. Okay, let's leave that same spring tension on. We're going to lay on our side and work on a little bit of side jumping as well. Notice your headrest. If you would like another headrest on here, that's fine as well. I'm going to have my hand placed on my shoulder block. Now, my knees are bent at 90. I want to bring my top foot right here. So let's just first push out and see what it feels like. Make sure our alignment of our hips are stacked. We're not rolling open. We feel good within the obliques, lifting off the mat. Now, as I come in, I just align my knee, hold that position, and then create my jump. So it's a little bit different when we lay on our side. There's some elements we have to think about in terms of stacking our hips, but we're just in a parallel stance. For 5 and 4, and 3, and 2. Roll through that foot, and 1. Good, you guys, that's great. Let's experiment with the other side. Slowly come around. Stacking our hips, making sure we've got our foot placement right here, holding our shoulder block. All right, knees in line, hips as well, pelvis and obliques. Let's go out and in. And 8, and 9, and last one. Woo! All right, you guys, short and sweet. Come on back to your back at your center right here. Let's go ahead and just place our feet on top of that board. And holding behind our thighs with our hands flexing and pointing and rolling the ankles a few times. Woo! All right, you guys, pull those knees in towards your chest. Big breath in, full breath out. Thank you guys for joining me for this foot and ankle mobility technique mini class using the jump board for all of our stability and strength work with the intrinsic foot muscles of our feet. If you have questions or comments about the techniques we used in today's class, drop them in the comment box below. And if you haven't yet checked out my website, please do. I have my complete Pilates store on there with all the equipment linked directly to Balanced Body for your 5% discount. And the information is at the top of the page on how to get that. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll see you next time.